Welcome into the first full day of eating Crumbl cookie edition. It's not all Crumbl cookies. Like I try to explain to people, the challenge isn't to eat only that. I also have to surround the cookie with some other like higher quality stuff to where I'll feel good and also get in sufficient protein, which is the toughest thing to do when the cookie is taking up 800 calories through sugar, carbs, and fat. So the meals are going to be very simple, and I like to eat basically the same things for a week at a time. So by just showing you one full day of eating, you could just imagine that pretty much my entire week has looked like that. I'll make minor adjustments here and there, and I'll show you how I do that, especially compared to when I have a 960 calorie cookie, the Rice Krispie one, or a, let's say, 680 calorie cookie or 720 calorie cookie, to where there's a couple 100 calorie difference. So I'm here with meal one. It is 12:30 p.m. I like to save the majority of my calories for the back half of the day when I'm in a fat loss phase, because I do not like getting to the end of the day and being like hungry. I still do have 3 meals, so this one will be at 12:30. I'll go work out shortly after, probably within an hour, and then I'll have my next meal right after that, and then my final meal will probably be around 8 p.m. something like that. So I guess it is intermittent fasting in a way, but I'm not like scared to have coffee or some things that might take you out of a fasted state. So I think it's all about just timing and strategizing for what you prefer. That is the most effective. There's no magic to intermittent fasting. It all comes down to calories consumed, as well as like protein and other moving factors. So for meal number one, got some reds and greens mixed up. We're still having BPN. No, I'm no longer an ambassador, but I still love these things, and hopefully I become an ambassador again at some point. They're going through some changes, so we'll see what happens. So I got reds and greens, and then a half a scoop of collagen protein in there. So that's 10 grams of protein. I use half a scoop just to save some money. I don't need a full scoop with that, since I'm getting in plenty of protein through other sources. And then we got a plate of chicken thigh, 12.4 ounces of it. That was the raw weight. So I cooked it all, 5 days worth, and then I dispersed it into containers, I weighed the total end amount and divided it by 5, because that's how much I wanted. That's how many meals I wanted, Monday through Friday. And we're having a cookie. So that's my meal. That's first meal. So we have chicken thigh, Crumbl cookie, reds, greens, and collagen. So before the cookie, it is 465 calories, 79 grams of protein, which my goal is 180 to 200. I'm going to be shooting a little bit more for the 200 during this phase, just because. And with the cookie, it's an 800 calorie cookie coming from mainly carbs and fat. So that's why I don't need to surround this chicken thigh with some additional carbs, since I'm getting plenty through the cookie. So this meal will end up being around 1,265 calories, and it's not a ton of food. So that's something to think about when you are having a Crumbl cookie for every single day. And also for my chicken thigh, to spice it up a little bit, I am a big Melinda's guy. The black truffle sauce, calorie free, tons of flavor though. And it doesn't matter how much I use, because it's calorie free. Look at that. So good. Yep. 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 And I just eat it cold too. Whatever. It's protein. Like, just get it in. Do what you gotta do. Like, you don't need a microwave. I have one right there, but I still think it tastes good. And now it's time to do the Crumbl cookie review of the day. We got the confetti cake, so I'm gonna get my camera up since I said I'm going to be recording Instagram stories for every single cookie, especially the ones that I don't have, and do a review on them. So here we go. I want to show you guys first. Looks pretty dang good, doesn't it? That's a thick boy. I should weigh how much this is. Let's see. Food scale. Almost at 6.9 ounces. Yep. See if that sprinkle. No, it doesn't get you 7. Almost a half-pound cookie. So, it's gonna be good. Gonna be real good. All right, time to record. Crumbl cookie of the day. Confetti cake. Very simple. Frosting and just a soft, man. You get it. Yeah. Let's get some frosting. One bite. It's for sure better than the sugar cookie yesterday. Wow. Okay. I think that might be cream cheesy frosting, which elevates it. Anything cream cheese just, like, it's like an extra 1.5 every time. I'm gonna give this 8.1. 8.1. There you have it. Another review in the books. Wow. Okay. Wow. So there you have it. Meal 1. Probably nothing too exciting to you guys, but it's effective. That's all that matters. Try to keep nutrition as simple as possible while also incorporating some things that you love. One Crumbl cookie every single day is a little excessive, but that's the point of this challenge, just to kind of prove a point. But at the end of it, I'm going to kind of explain more on like a healthier balance to it. I swear by the 80-20 rule, but if I have 800 calories of cookie every single day, that's more like 70 or 65-35 approach to it. Still can be done. I'm still going to be having some beers during this cut, and it's going to work out. And I just can't wait to show you guys the results. So that's meal 1. I'll be back for meal 2 after my workout. Let's head to the gym right now so you can get an idea of how I'm working out as well. Most people are very confused about why I'm not doing, oh, that thunder. I don't know if you could hear it, but it's storming. I'm not going to be doing like any set aside cardio, like running or stair stepper, any of that type of stuff. If I do cardio, it's going to include like deadlifts, maybe the rower. I might do like 2 workouts with that, but it's always going to be weight training based. Bodybuilding style training, along with some strength training as well. But when in a caloric deficit, strength is going to suffer a little bit. So I'm not going to be trying to force myself to get stronger, because that's just asking for an injury. And the main reason why I'm not going to do cardio is that I want to utilize the majority of my carb/glycogen stores for my weight training performance, versus utilizing it towards just some basic cardio. So that's gonna help me, from personal experience, that helps maintain and develop muscle even while in a caloric deficit. So the only like consistent approach to cardio that I'm going to be doing is hitting an average of 10,000 steps per day. That is it. And if I don't get 10,000 one day, it's not a big deal. I'll just move on, and if I need to make up 1,000 steps the next day, I can do that. And the main thing is just being as steady and consistent as possible, hitting the weight training and hitting the average number of calories per day that I need to hit. And I will do that. So yeah, my style of training, did some deadlifts, nothing crazy heavy today. Deadlifts to work the back. I had back day with core. So did some pull-ups, some overhead weighted sit-up, hanging leg raises, heavy renegade row. Within these, you could tell, well, the reason why I do elevated is so I get a better range of motion with it, so I can fully extend my arm. Can you hear that? Thunder? I gotta go. I'm nervous now. Gotta go hide downstairs. Maybe a tornado's coming. I don't know, but that's my style of training basically. Weight training based, minimal cardio, and it's very effective when you're tracking your nutrition. Trust me. For my post-workout meal, or should I say snack, since it's only about 500-ish calories, we're gonna do an omelet. So we're gonna use 2 large eggs. We got some egg whites for some additional protein without the extra fat that the yolks would provide if I used like 6 large eggs. And then we're just gonna grab a handful of spinach. I don't have this tracked, but it's in my mind, it's like 15 calories. It's not that big of a deal. Then feta cheese, 2 tablespoons of that, AKA 32 grams, 28 grams actually. And then some onions and peppers. So this this little device here is very convenient for chopping up onions and peppers to save a ton of time. And then they're just in this nice little container. And I weighed out the total amount of peppers along with the total amount of onions and divided those numbers by 5 because that's how many omelets I'm having this week. And I have that tracked, and I'll just, based on the total amount of weight, I divided it by 5. And that ended up being, it is 172 grams of the onions and peppers. So when I do take it out, I kind of make sure that I don't take like all onions or like all peppers. I try to make it pretty balanced each and every day. And even if I was off by like 10 grams, it's onions and peppers. They're very low calorie, so it's not the end of the world. If it was peanut butter, that would be a different story. Peanut butter or oil or any super calorie dense, higher fat type food. And it's 250 grams of egg whites. I honestly do not weigh things out on the counter like this. I'm just doing it for the video. I typically have it on the stovetop already. Boom, 250, just like that. Then I'll add it to the stove after I top it with some spinach here. So let's go like this. And feta cheese, we'll do that 28 grams. I've actually been doing 32 the last couple days, so I'm glad I looked at the label today. It's not like that big of a deal, it's just, I like to be precise. But if it's a couple of grams, it's like, chill out, bud. Like, are you getting ready for a bodybuilding show? If I was, then I'd be like, okay, no, that can add up. Especially, yeah, once you get into the deeper part of a prep. Tony Sacheries, however you say that. That's my go-to egg spice, salt. A little spicy, and some pepper. And then, throw it on the stovetop. I put it on 3.5 to 4, cover it, and just let it do its thing. Don't even need to mix it. It'll cook all the way through eventually. So that is the final product. Now I'll add some hot sauce to it. 0 calorie, little spice, flavor. Make your food flavorful or else you will not be happy. And also, on the side, we're gonna do 250 grams of strawberries. Fun fact, I've noticed that if you buy 1 pound of strawberries and slice the tops off, it ends up being right around 500 grams. So for me, I'll buy a couple pounds, and I'll cut up 1 pound at a time, and then I'll take 250 grams. Then the next day I'll just finish the rest, and I'll still track it as 250 grams and go from there. So that's just a nice little thing to have in the back of your mind if you want to simplify your tracking so you don't have to weigh as much or break out the food scale as much. So the macros for this are 487 calories, 49 grams of protein, 35 grams of carbs, and 15 grams of fat. There's not very many carbs here. It's mainly from strawberries, a little bit from spinach, peppers, onions, and I will be having more carbs. Don't worry. It's not like the cookie's the only carbs that I'm going to be having. That would be absolutely miserable. Everything I'm making and eating during this week is it takes very little time to have it prepped and prepared. So I think if you're a busy person, you could probably take away a little bit of something from any one of these meals. It's nothing about the Crumbl cookie, but hey, you can always learn a little bit of something from a meal prep video. I know that from personal experience. I've watched plenty in my day. So I appreciate you guys for watching mine. And let's eat. Time to eat. Post-workout protein. And I'll be eating my next meal in probably 3 hours-ish. Blueberry muffin? Protein? Sludge, I guess you could say? This was not the plan for my meal. This is probably the first time I have not had oats in my cupboard in 5 years. And of course, it's when I'm making a video, but hey, we adapt. We adapt, and I basically just substituted the oats with some Kodiak cakes. And the macros weren't as precise as it would have been if I would have had the oats, but by having Kodiak cakes, I surpassed my protein goal by like 10 or 15 grams more than I would have if it was just oats, and my carbs were a little bit lower. So it's not the end of the world. Things like that happen. It's like, it's okay. Just move on. Let me see how this actually tastes though. Like I know it's gonna be good, but it's just kind of weird. Am I supposed to eat Kodiak cakes without cooking them? Just like blueberry muffin batter. That's pretty damn good. I might actually start doing that. Wow. Okay. So the macros for this: 69 grams of protein, nice. 707 calories, 82 grams of carbs, and 12 grams of fat. So for the totals today, my totals, I was 4 calories over my goal, 2,464. Protein was at 206. Like I said, I was shooting for 180 to 200. So I was over a little bit, which is okay. And my carbs were at 229 instead of 245, which was the goal. And my fat was at 77. So macros, pretty damn close. And that will be that's very effective. People obsess about being so damn precise every single day, and if they are off by a little bit, they guilt themselves, or they feel so much pressure to need to be doing better. But like, if you're in the ballpark and your calories are within 100 calories of your goal, and also you surpass your protein goal, that's a win. It's going to be very, very effective. If you are prepping for a bodybuilding show, yes, nail your numbers. But to make this a lifestyle, you got to be flexible. You got to adapt when needed. If I was prepping for a bodybuilding show, I would have drove to the grocery store and got some oats. But hey, I had Kodiak cakes in the cupboard and I hadn't used them in a while, so need to use them anyway. This is third and final meal, and I'm getting plenty of fiber outside of the cookie, if you haven't noticed. Mainly because, well, fiber does come from carbs. So by the cookie taking up the majority of my carbs for the day, that means that the remaining carbs that I need to eat need to be very fiber dense. So the Kodiak cakes, quite a bit of fiber. They're very similar to oats as far as fiber goes. Had some strawberries earlier. The resin greens, some blueberries in here. And also with the omelet, some peppers and onions, which they don't have a crazy amount of fiber, the spinach. But it's very important to hit fiber as far as like digestion and just feeling good and slowing down the sugar. I should honestly start having a little bit more fiber alongside the cookie to slow down the spike so I don't like get that sugar rush and then sugar crash. So that's something I might do over the next few weeks to test out, because honestly, this week my energy levels sucked like bad. Like I'd eat the cookie and then for the next like 4 to 5 hours, I was just like out of it. And I'd like say things to like on phone calls with clients. I would say like statements that made no sense at all. I'd catch myself, but yeah, my brain's not fully there with the cookies this consistently. So we'll see. We're only 1 week in. That is 1 full day of eating with the cookies. I'll do another one next week, and I can't wait to see what the lineup is. That's going to be announced in a couple days here. So that's going to wrap up the video. I hope you learned a little bit of something. Excuse me. And remember, you're never off track. You can buy these shirts, by the way, down in the description. I'll leave a link. You're never off track. There's always something you can do to support your health and fitness, and you can also consume anything in the world and you're not off track. That's a beautiful thing. You'll never have to say, I'm going to get back on track again, when you live with the never off track mentality. So cheers. Thanks for tuning in. Let's have another cookie tomorrow and for the next 38 days. Cheers.